Hi, in this week's Parashat Beshalach, the famous story of the splitting of the sea. After the splitting of the sea, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to close the sea on the Egyptians. It says in Perek Yudalad Pasuk Chav Zayin, Vayet Moshe et yado al hayam. Moshe outstretched his hand over the waters. Vayashov ha'am lifnot boker le'etano. And he brought back the waters le'etano, to its original strength. The Baal HaTurim points out over here from a midrash, le'etano, to its original strength. Says the Baal HaTurim, le'tna'o harishon, to its original condition. What condition? Hashem made a condition with the waters at Maaseh Bereshit during the creation of the world. There's going to be one time in history that they're going to split. They're going to do something against their norm. And they're going to split for the time of the Jews going through by the splitting of the sea. But the Baal HaTurim asks the question that it wasn't a one-time in history event. If we look at the Gemara in Chulin, Daf Zayin Amud Aleph, there's a story of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. He was there with one of his workers and some materials, and they needed to cross over a river to get to the other side. The bridge was out, and Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair prays to Hashem, please split the sea like you did for Moshe Rabbeinu, and this river split open. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair crosses, and actually his worker didn't get in time, and the water went back to normal. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair again asked God, can you please open the river again for my worker? And the worker, with all the materials, crosses as well. A very easy, simple type of thing. I thought there was a condition just for one time in history. Asks the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. That's the Rabbi Chaim ben Attar asks this question. Wasn't it a one time in history thing that the water split for the Jews? The Tana'o HaRishon? Also, if we look in the Midrash, asks the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, a different Midrash says that when Moshe wanted to split the sea, the water gave Moshe a run for his money. The water said, Moshe, why should I listen to you? You were created on day 6. I was created on day 3. I'm older than you. I'm more respectful than you. I'm not supposed to listen to you. And the Midrash says, until God himself put his hand with Moshe's hand, and the water split. And Moshe actually asks the water, what changed now? He says, well, the water says, I see the God of Yaakov with you, so I'm splitting. We'll get back to why he said the God of Yaakov specifically. So the question is, Moshe had a hard time, and Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair had an easy time splitting the sea. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair did it even though we see over here there's only one time condition. That was the time when the Jews crossed the Red Sea. So what's going on over here? Asks the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. He answers with a marvelous answer. And he says as follows, that when God created the world, he also set up, after Matan Torah, after the giving of the Torah, that the entire world will be subservient to the Torah and to those that learn Torah and study Torah. Therefore, after Matan Torah, that's when Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair existed, and therefore he was a person of Torah, so he was able to control nature in a certain way. Whereas Moshe Rabbeinu was before Matan Torah. Before Matan Torah, the water was going with its logic. I'm older than you. I have the right to tell you what to do. And that's the difference between Moshe and Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair. And the Tanai was therefore only for before Matan Torah. We can ask another question though. As it says in Parashat Vayishlach, Yaakov Avinu says, Ki b'makli avarti et hayarden hazeh, I crossed the Yarden with my staff. One of the explanations from a Midrash as well, Rashi brings it down, is that Yaakov split the Jordan River. So this is another time where we see a splitting of a river, but this is also before Matan Torah. And if you noticed that we mentioned in the Midrash, the water says, I see the God of Yaakov. What's so special about Yaakov? Because Yaakov Avinu was the only one in the Torah that it says he was the Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim. He was a person in the tent studying Torah. It was this connection to Torah that was able to perform this miracle. This connection to Torah where the world is subservient to the Torah and its scholars. That's the Orach Chaim HaKadosh that says that. Baruch Hashem, we're here in Yeshivat Orach Chaim, and one of the main focuses, of course, is chinuch for our children, for the students, to get them to follow the right path, etc. We sometimes think of so many ways how to enhance their learning to get them One point from here is never forgetting the roots, never forgetting the Torah, and never forgetting and recognizing that the Torah has such unbelievable powers in it that we're above nature with the Torah, tells us the Orach HaKadosh, as we see from Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair, from Moshe Rabbeinu, from Yaakov Avinu. It was the zechut of the Torah that opened the Kriyat Yam Suf, because the water said, I see the God of Yaakov. Who is Yaakov? Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim. Baruch Hashem, here we learn Torah, we connect to the Torah. Let's strengthen that, and as parents, let's strengthen our connection to the Torah and the Torah learning. And that, Bezrat Hashem, will it'll be the Kriyat Yam Suf in our own personal lives, where we think we're at an end, where can I go, what can I do? Through the zechut of the learning of the Torah, connecting to the Torah, all of our questions will be answered, and Bezrat Hashem will connect, and we'll see many, many beautiful things from all of our children and all of Bnei Israel. Have a Shabbat Shalom. See you soon.